Welcome to episode 303 of the Various and Sundry podcast. I am your host, Matt Harmon, joined live from the Vault Studio on the beautiful campus of Grace College and Grace Theological Seminary by my good friend, my colleague, my co-host, and the man who is wearing a very sharp Grace Lancers quarter zip, John Scott Sloat.
We're going to start narrating apparel. You and your black and gray checkered flannel here today.
I mean, it felt appropriate this morning. And it is fall break, so I'm not
it does feel like fall outside.
Yeah.
It's I'm like my hands are a little cold just sort of perpetually right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I settle into that till about April.
Okay. And so your office in McLean, that doesn't get too cold, does it?
Once they turn the heat on, it doesn't get too cold. The heat is not on yet.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. They haven't made the transition from the cooling to the heat.
No. And then once students leave, they definitely turn down the temperature.
Oh, yes.
And it gets significantly cooler.
Yeah.
So
do you resort to wearing like the fingerless gloves in the office to
No, I just can't do that.
Okay.
I just can't do that.
All right. I mean, it is a lovely fall day as we record this.
Yeah. Do you ever have students come to you and go, "Can we have class outside?"
Yes.
And have you ever had class outside?
I don't think so.
Okay. You use PowerPoint a lot.
I do, and I'll be honest. Like I like being outside, but talk about distraction.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's just like there's no learning going on here.
You can't control the environment.
No. People are too distracted. People are walking by.
I would interrupt if I walked by you having class outside.
Yeah.
What is going on here?
Yeah.
I frankly couldn't help it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I couldn't help that if I walked by your class when you were teaching inside and I would come by and interrupt.
Yeah.
I don't think I've done that. I've definitely done that to others. I don't think I've done that to you. Yeah,
I pretty much do it almost all the time to our systematic theology professor and our family ministries professor as well.
Yeah.
Those are the two that I basically feel the freedom to just essentially interrupt.
And make comments about whatever they're.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, if you would like to contact the show and, I don't know, get some apparel advice from John Sloat, you can find us on X at VNSPod. You can email the show, variousandsundrypodcast@gmail.com. You can find us on Facebook and on YouTube, and we would love for you to leave a 5-star rating on whatever platform you access the show. All right, John, let's talk some sports.
Let's do it.
Busy time of the year. Let's start with college football as we always do. Ohio State remains unbeaten and number one. They defeated Wisconsin
and blanked them, right?
34-zip.
Yeah.
Yep. They look good. They have some issues to figure out in terms of the run game, and their special teams need some work, but they're in good shape. There were 4 top 10 teams that lost this weekend. So, Miami, Ole Miss, Texas Tech, and LSU all lost this weekend. So, a lot of change going on in there in the top 10. But I will say what's different here is now with the 12-team playoff, you lose a game and it's not like, oh, that's the end of the world.
It's not like, catastrophic.
What you've done is you've eliminated your margin for error. Once you get into the 2-loss range, then you're like, well, you're kind of at the mercy of how things fall.
So Louisville beat Miami.
Yes, I did catch most of that game.
The surprising game.
Yes, though I was never sold on Miami being, number 2. I thought they were good, but not like number 2.
Louisville's they're 5-1. They're decent.
They're good.
Right?
Yeah.
Minnesota beat Nebraska.
That's a bit, I don't know. Nebraska's hard to read. They're just hard to figure out.
Yeah. Let's see. What else? Vanderbilt beat LSU.
Yes. Vanderbilt's pretty good. LSU is, as they often are, chronically overrated.
Is that Brian Kelly still there?
He is. I don't know that he'll be there at the end of this season, but
that doesn't shock me. I was surprised. You left Notre Dame?
Well,
that was sort of my feeling at the time. Like, really? You left?
I mean,
you left Notre Dame.
Yeah. My thought is, if you can't, like, everything's set up for you at LSU. If you can't win at LSU, then that's a you problem. Like, you've got the resources, you've got the recruiting base, you're in the SEC. I mean, I think, yeah. So I think he's going to get fired at the end of the year.
Georgia beat Mississippi.
Yep, that was a back and forth game. I think both those teams are pretty good, not like amazing though.
Okay. I feel like we need to talk about it because we're in the state.
Okay.
Indiana beat Michigan State.
Yes, that wasn't surprising. It was the week before, which what was surprising is they beat Oregon on the road.
Right. I'm just still surprised. I mean, what are they, number 2 now in the country?
They are number 2 behind Ohio State.
That's wild to me.
It is. Yeah.
Is Indiana a football school now?
I mean, you can make that case over the last 2 years they are.
Yeah, I mean, will this go on forever? Right? Will all right, the Jets are bad.
They're bad. We'll get to that.
Yes. And I'm already seeing profiles of quarterbacks coming out in the draft.
Yeah.
The first one is Indiana's quarterback.
Yeah.
That's wild to me. That
it is. I mean,
we went from 2022 them being a football school to here we are. They're now
being a
basketball school. Now they're a football school.
Yes. That's in part because their basketball program has fallen on hard times. If their basketball program was still like elite, then I think they'd still be a basketball
You think so?
school. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll stop going on about football school.
But I mean, I think their coach is fantastic. I don't know about their quarterback. Again, they have played. They played Oregon. They've played one really good team, and they beat them. But I just don't know how his play will translate consistently against good defenses. I don't know.
Anything to say about Notre Dame USC?
I was a little surprised that Notre Dame won that game. USC kind of, to borrow an expression often used in the Harmon household, peed down their leg in clutch time. So they had the ball down 3 at like the Notre Dame 45-yard line, and they decided to run a trick play that was like a toss to their wide receiver who was then looking to throw the ball downfield. And, of course, doing this in a steady rain on a sloppy field seems like a really, really dumb decision.
Yeah.
And so they turn the ball over, and Notre Dame goes down and scores and basically takes control.
Who's the coach at USC now?
Lincoln Riley.
Is it still Lincoln Riley?
It's still Lincoln Riley, yeah.
Feels like he missed his moment in the sun there, right? I mean, he was at Oklahoma. Mm-hmm. He was very, very well respected at Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Very well thought of. And it feels like there was a lot of talk of him jumping to the NFL. And he jumped to USC instead.
Yeah.
And just has never sort of risen up from that.
Yeah, I mean, the knock on him has always been, especially at USC, is he's not been able to he's not had a defense. And so, he's one of these offensive coach guys, and so he's been so focused on offense that he was criticized for,
He's a Big 12 guy.
Yeah, basically. You can't when you're the head coach, you can't just be the offensive coordinator. You have to actually coach the defense or find somebody who is great at the defense and just say, go run that. And he's just not managed to do that. They are better defensively than they have been, but I think he could. I don't think he could get an NFL job as a head coach right now, but I think he could. He would be a highly paid offensive coordinator.
Don't you think he could have gotten a job as a head coach out of Oklahoma?
Maybe.
after he developed, what was it? Was it Baker, Jalen? And I feel like I'm missing one.
Baker Mayfield, Jalen Hurts, and there's probably one more in there. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, he obviously has a great track record of developing quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm.
But, you need more than a quarterback to win a championship. And, he jumped to USC, I think, because he thought it was a better opportunity to win a national championship out there, and it hasn't panned out.
Yeah.
But I also just think the jump from college to pro in terms of
doesn't always translate.
This doesn't translate always very well.
I think that's right.
Though I will say, now that the college ranks are becoming more like the pros in terms of like player movement and NIL contracts and that sort of stuff, like I think it's actually getting closer to what the NFL job is, which is why a lot of college teams are hiring general managers to actually handle all of that stuff, so that the head coach can actually
coach. And recruit.
Yeah.
Well, I know a lot of college coaches cannot make that transition to the NFL, but we can make that transition to the NFL.
We can.
Let's talk about it.
We can. Well, we have to start with your New York Football Jets.
Yeah. What do you want to know?
Well, so they benched Justin Fields and put in Tyrod Taylor, and that didn't seem to really change the narrative much, right?
I mean, I think it changed some of the attitude. They were definitely throwing the ball downfield.
Okay.
I think Justin Fields looked a little – I think he looked scared to throw the ball, fearful of turning the ball over. And Tyrod came in, and Tyrod's never had a fear of throwing the ball downfield.
It's true.
Regardless of how many defensive backs are in that area.
Yeah.
And he did just that. And, Tyrod I don't think he played a full half, but threw the ball for 126 yards on 10 completions. Justin Fields had 6 completions for 46 yards.
Yep.
Which just isn't real good.
Not good enough. Nope.
And Tyrod was not as susceptible to taking the sack as Justin was.
Yep.
So, but neither of them are very good, and I don't think we actually have a quarterback.
No.
So we need to find.
So 0-6 now?
7.
0-7.
0-7.
Okay. So, I mean, theoretically, they still could have a winning record this year if they
win out, pretty much.
I mean, they'd have to go 9-1 in their last 10.
Yeah, I think that's pretty unlikely.
I think so too.
The Green Shoots defense had another good game.
Mm-hmm.
Did not give up a ton. Bryce Young was 15 for 25 for 138, and the Red Rifle was 4 for 7 after Bryce Young left the game.
Okay,
460.
The Red Rifle.
The Red Rifle. So I mean. The run defense struggled against their main guy, but everybody else they did all right against. And
okay,
yeah, defense looked adequate, serviceable.
Adequate.
I mean, they held the Panthers to 13 points. That's not nothing. That's if you hold your opponent to 13 points, you should win most games.
I agree. Yeah, I mean, I think this applies more to the college game, but it's not far off in the NFL. I feel like. If you hold your opponent under 20 points, you should win that game.
Mm-hmm.
And if you score more than 30 points, you should win that game.
Yep.
So if you score more than 30 and you lose, it's the defense's fault.
Mm-hmm.
If you give up 13 points like that and you lose, that's your offense's fault.
Yep.
Elsewhere around the NFL, you've got. The thing that stood out to me, you saw obviously the rally. The Broncos came back, scored 33 points in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I did see that.
To rally past the Giants.
Yeah. When the Giants lose, it warms my heart.
Yeah. So, And then we haven't talked much about this, but like the Indianapolis Colts are good.
They're 6-1. Mm-hmm.
Was that your way of saying they're not good?
No, they have a great record. You are what your record says you are.
Okay.
6-1's a good record.
Okay. I wasn't sure if you were just sort of hedging your bets there and being like, well, yeah, they're 6-1, but I don't think they're that great. Or whether – I mean, I think they're a good football team. Do you disagree?
I think they're a good football team. Yes, I think that's true. Let's see. Let's look at the schedule. They beat Miami.
Miami's bad.
They're bad. Denver, they feel a little Jekyll and Hyde-ish to me. They have really good weeks, and then last week they did not play very well against the Jets.
Mm-hmm. Still won though.
Still won. Yes. The Giants are not a good football team. They had to score 30 points in the fourth quarter to beat them.
Yeah.
They beat the Titans.
Titans are not good.
Not a good football team. Lost to the Rams.
Rams are pretty good, I think.
Rams are good. Yeah, they lost to the Rams by 7. They beat Las Vegas.
Not an especially good team.
No. Goodness, no. They won 40-6. They beat Arizona.
Another mediocre team.
And then the Los Angeles Chargers, they beat 38-24 this week. That's a better football team.
Chargers are pretty good, I think.
So there was a lot of talk on ESPN this morning, or I guess when I was at lunch, which was also this morning, about them being the number 1 seed in the AFC. And I just think there's a lot of let's wait and see, right? There's
still 10 games left.
The Steelers, the Chiefs, the Jaguars are a decent team.
Have they played the Texans yet?
No.
And so they have 2 times with the Texans.
2 times with the Texans.
Division rival.
2 times with the Jaguars.
Yeah.
And Jaguars are kind of –
they're a Jekyll and Hyde team.
Yeah. They're sort of like the Broncos in that way. The Seahawks, good team. San Francisco, good team. Mm-hmm. So they have some good teams coming up. We'll see what happens.
Okay.
But they are 6-1. You are what your record says you are.
Okay. All right, Bill Parcells.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, we're going to talk about grocery shopping. So have you followed at all the baseball playoffs?
Yeah, I keep tabs.
Okay.
I mean, Shohei Ohtani had the greatest game ever.
It's certainly up there.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm willing to say ever. 10 strikeouts and 3 home runs.
In 6 innings.
Yeah. Like impressive.
Okay. All right. I'm just saying, I'm guessing you can go back into the history books and find something similarish that, Babe Ruth probably did. 100.
I don't think so.
You don't think that he had a World Series, or I guess they didn't really have playoff games, did they? They went straight to the World Series, didn't they? Yeah.
So I don't think so. I don't think there's anybody out there that's had 10 strikeouts and 3 home runs in a game.
Okay. See, I'm not trying to diminish what he did. I'm just saying when you throw in the 6 innings piece, it's like, I know it's modern baseball, but anyway, it's great. He's phenomenal, and the Dodgers are going to pay him through the nose. They're not really paying him through the nose yet.
Deferred money. Yeah.
And from what I can tell, I've watched a few snippets. The Mariners Blue Jays series has been really good.
Very, very good.
And we're recording on a Monday, so Game 7.
Is that tonight?
Tonight. Winner goes on
Who do you
to the
like?
World Series. It's in Toronto, isn't it?
I believe so.
It's hard to go against the home team in a playoff game like that.
Yes, in Toronto, Game 7 tied 3-3. Who's pitching? Who is pitching tonight?
I mean, I will say the MLB has to be relieved that at least the Dodgers made it. That's a major market team.
Absolutely.
Toronto and Seattle are not major markets when it comes to. Though I would think Seattle might be a decent market in the Northwest. But if you've got Dodgers, Mariners, is anybody east of Colorado watching that thing?
East of Denver. Do you think they still cater to the East Coast time zone? The Eastern time zone?
I'm sure they do, just because otherwise
ratings,
right? Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know who you'd want. You'd probably want Toronto. Toronto's a massive media market. We don't often talk about it because it's they have a different.
They're Canadians.
They have different money.
Yeah. And a weird accent, right?
Yeah.
Last note on sports here. NBA season's about ready to tip off.
Yeah, I've been getting updates. I think I mentioned this last week. Like, oh, the Knicks are playing today.
So the Knicks made it to the conference final last year?
we
lost to the Pacers, right?
We lost to the Pacers, yeah.
Okay. So is your expectation a similar?
We have a new coach, trying to what does that mean?
Yeah. So maybe a step backward, at least initially.
Maybe, Brunson's still there, Karl Anthony Towns there.
Okay.
Kel Bridges, OG Anunoby still there.
All right.
So, Josh Hart's still – the core is still there, so it depends on how they're used. And, sort of the on Thibodeau, the line was, well, he doesn't know how to use analytics and therefore hurt the team. And
yeah. Played his starters too much.
Didn't rest anybody.
Yeah.
So.
Last sports note, the Grace basketball team. So about to start the season, they had an exhibition just yesterday. Out against Colorado, on the road, obviously, out in Colorado. And
held our own,
led at the half, played well, and then, reality catches up to you when you're playing a NCAA Division I school, but acquitted themselves well. So they have their opening game this Friday.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's Grace Family Night. So if you're a Grace employee, come out and have
go.
some free cubed cheese on me.
Yeah. I may be stopping in the alumni suite up there to get mine. Yes,
please do
during halftime.
During halftime, because you are you announcing the game?
I'll be on the mic. Yeah.
Okay.
Jake and I will be calling a game.
Can I bring up one current events thing? I'd like to get your vibes on your feelings.
Sure. We're 22 minutes into this podcast and haven't got to our main topic.
All right.
So.
Well, maybe quickly.
Okay.
Did you see the I believe it's pronounced Louvre got broken into this weekend?
I did. Yes.
Have you read much about this?
I only saw a little snippet that they did it in broad daylight. Basically.
They did it during functioning hours. They had a truck with a cherry picker.
Yeah.
They somehow broke through this window without raising suspicion, climbed through the window and smashed the protective glass around I've been calling it the crown jewels of France. I don't know if that's the truth.
Yeah. Jewels from like the Napoleonic era of France, yeah.
They grabbed them, got down, I assume through the cherry picker.
I would assume so, yeah.
Got on motorbikes, which I think are just European motorcycles,
I think so.
And ran away and have not been caught.
Yeah.
The whole thing took 7 minutes.
The audacity to do it in broad daylight is remarkable.
I would expect better security.
Yeah.
Or I would expect the criminals to have more tech. Right?
You're suggesting this felt very low tech?
Yes. Like I'm used to these heist movies where it's like we're going to use the descrambler to descramble things and get through the security firewall and all these
Mission Impossible hanging from the ceiling, avoiding the laser motion detectors and okay.
So any thoughts or feelings on the heist in Paris today?
Well, I'm certainly not going to condone such activities, but I
you have a smile on your face.
I am remarkably impressed with pulling it off. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, that's it. That's all I wanted to say on current events.
Okay. Well, moving on to something that's not a current event is our main topic for the day.
Or is it?
We are talking about we are continuing our series, I should say, of Know Your Heretics, Part 3.
Part 3.
Marcion.
Mm-hmm.
So we have already talked about the Gnostics. We have talked about the Ebionites. Mm-hmm. Now today we're talking about Marcion and the Marcionites. Mm-hmm. So why don't you tell us a little bit about our guy here, Mr. Marcion?
Yeah, that probably makes him a little bit different as it's sort of named after Marcion, where
the dude,
where Gnostic is a bit more of a catch-all. And we looked up the meaning of Ebionite, but it had something to do with the way a word sounded or something like that.
Related to being poor.
Yeah. So Marcion was a wealthy fella from, I believe, the Black Sea region. So he was a shipbuilder, got pretty wealthy doing that. Came in contact with the church at some point around there, and then made his way to Rome.
All right.
Gets to Rome and began to hear some teaching that was probably Gnostic. So he went to, classic story, right? Young guy from a small town goes to the big city and is corrupted by the big city teaching and thinking. And
I mean, there's a million movies about that very thing. Yeah.
Very classic story.
Classic trope, yeah.
So Marcion comes to Rome, hears Gnostic teaching, perhaps for the first time. Perhaps that's what he was hearing in his hometown the whole time.
Okay.
And I think that's an important thing to outline, is that he's pretty much a Gnostic. He's definitely the biggest Gnostic we've had. He has some differences. Gnostics tend to believe in lots of gods. Mm-hmm. Marcion's much more of a no, there's two sort of guy. But his big thrust is that he's a big fan of Paul, likes a lot of Paul, except for the prison epistles. I have no idea why, but does not like the prison epistles. Likes your classic Romans first. Mm-hmm. Doesn't really read much else in the New Testament, and certainly does not like the Old Testament and wants to jettison it.
Yes, though he did like portions of Luke's gospel.
Why is that?
That's just the one that he.
That's just one that he was sort of on board with.
But I mean, he kind of took sections out that didn't quite align with,
his preferred understanding.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I mean, that's really what he's famous for. Other than that, I mean, he's pretty much a Gnostic, right? I mean, he believes the God of the Old Testament was some sort of vengeful creator God, and the material created world is sort of a bad and evil thing. Mm-hmm. Jesus only appears human, and so therefore he's not human, therefore he's not evil. And the creator God is a lesser God in the Old Testament. There's this more spiritual, greater God who's doing greater things. And all of this sort of material versus non-material, sort of this, what's the word you use for that? Dualism? Is that what I'm thinking of?
So,
materialism versus the spiritual.
Yeah, I mean, dualism's that works. Yeah,
kind of very similar to the Gnostics, to the point where his followers had strict diets and fasted to the point of death. Right, because ingesting food itself was a material thing, was therefore evil. Which,
that's a little different. I mean, in him being a branch off of the Gnostics, some Gnostics went the other direction in terms of like, well, it doesn't matter. Since the physical doesn't matter, then I can eat whatever I want. I can engage in whatever illicit activities I want because it has no effect on my actual spirit, which is what matters. And so, but he goes the other direction with a sort of almost ascetic kind of approach to physicality and food. And
there's this great quote, I believe it's from Polycarp or somebody that was chronicling Polycarp's life. Mm-hmm. And he and Marcion ran into one another, and apparently Polycarp goes, "Oh, Marcion, I know who you are." And Marcion goes, "You know me?" And Polycarp, Marcion says, "Knowest thou me?" And Polycarp replies, "I know the firstborn of Satan." It's a great line.
Yeah, which makes you think Polycarp might have been an interesting follow on Twitter.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But all this to say, Marcion is not some sort of minor player in the ancient world. He got a pretty large following.
Yeah.
And was large enough that it caused local Christians to think about, like, okay, what books of the Bible are we going to work our way through? What books of the Bible are we going to endorse? Which which letters of the apostles, what level do we put on Paul? What level do we give to Luke, Matthew, Mark? And how do we view the Old Testament? It really caused the early Christians to think through some of those things, which is the value of a good heretic, right?
Yeah.
It forces us to think through those things.
Yeah. That's part of Heretics right there. Makes you think, right?
Makes you think through. Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay. So, I want to follow up on that because I do think what's striking to me is how easy it would have been for the early Christians, especially once they became predominantly Gentile, how easy it would have been to just essentially abandon the Old Testament.
Yeah. Particularly, this would have been in the wake of 70 A.D., right? In the wake of Bar Kokhba, which was
another Jewish rebellion against Rome.
Yep, where Bar Kokhba's head was eventually delivered to the emperor of Rome. Yeah. I believe on a spike of some kind. And,
how else are you going to carry it?
Yeah, well, and the Jewish people were carried out of Judea and carried into Europe as slaves at that point.
Yeah, and so
it could not have been popular in 144 when Marcion's on the scene in Rome to go like, no, we're going to stand behind the Jewish scriptures.
Right, yeah. Which that tells you something about the importance of the Old Testament scriptures, which I would say brings us to our contemporary moment.
Yes. Do you want to – where are the Marcionites today?
I was about to ask you that very question.
Yeah. Now, so I'm pretty sure we're thinking about the same fella here. I will say he's remarkably different than Marcion, right?
Are you going to indicate who we're talking about?
Yeah, we're talking about Andy Stanley,
okay.
North Point Community Church.
Atlanta suburbs.
North Atlanta,
yeah.
Where all the money is in Atlanta. But he said, has it been 7 years now?
Has it been that long?
It's been a hot minute since his book came out, but that we need to unhitch ourselves from the Old Testament.
That's right.
And I think as this thought has developed, as he's clarified his position, it really has to do more with the ethical assumptions of the Old Testament, is what he wants to unhitch from. Mm-hmm. Is that a fair statement? Like the Old Testament sexual ethic seems to be the thing that he really wants to unhitch from.
That's certainly a big piece of it. I'm trying to find the book title. Irresistible, reclaiming the new that Jesus unleashed for the world.
Now, as far as I know, he would not say, like Marcion would, that the God of the Old Testament, God of the New Testament are different.
Correct.
He would not say that Jesus just appeared human.
Correct.
He would have said Jesus is both human and God. He would have affirmed Nicaea. So there are some very different things. However, that central piece of we need to jettison the Old Testament.
I would describe Andy Stanley as a functional Marcionite at some level. And he's tried to backtrack and tried to say, no, I'm not saying. But when you use language like unhitch ourselves from the Old Testament and wanting to only talk about how the Old Testament is basically just it's type and it's shadow, and so you don't need to worry about that as a Christian. What's ironic is I don't think he's actually theologically a dispensationalist, but that view could be a distorted version of dispensationalism.
Yeah, like a hyper-dispensationalism.
A hyper-dispensationalism that's basically like, well, we're not under the old covenant anymore, and so you can just ignore all that stuff.
Yeah.
And it's only useful as history and background and maybe for,
moral Bible teachings.
Proving that Jesus is the Messiah because of him fulfilling prophecy. But it feels like an easy sort of way to try to diminish. And part of it, I think, to give him the best possible benefit of the doubt, he's trying to take a whole set of apologetics issues off the table.
Mm-hmm.
The whole gosh, the God of the Old Testament seems so upset and he's commanding genocide and all that sort of stuff. Okay. As well as, I would say, although he would probably disagree with this, that I feel like he's also trying to soften the sexual morality issues in the Old Testament in terms of, trying to carve out a path that allows maybe for a softer, in his mind, softer approach to a Christian sexual ethic that would at some level allow for homosexuality or those sorts of things.
Yeah.
And so, but I mean, functionally, he is in essence driving this wedge between the Old Testament God and the New Testament God in that sense. So he's probably the most obvious contemporary example of someone with Marcionite tendencies. I'll put it that way.
And I'd take it one step further. Explicit Marcionite tendencies, right? Like literally saying we need to. Now, I think there's some functional Marcionites out there that found it eventually who just ignore the Old Testament, right?
Correct.
And I think those exist as well.
Sure.
They're not making arguments that we need to jettison the Old Testament, which is where I think I draw the explicit difference with Andy down in Atlanta. But yeah, I do think there's a difference there, right? And more people like that exist.
And this is where I think even if you're a dispensationalist, you still need to affirm that the Old Testament reveals God's moral character and will. So we can't just sort of dismiss it and say, well, it's all type and shadow, it's all promise, and we can really just kind of ignore what the Old Testament says about God's character and that kind of stuff. We can just focus on the New Testament, and that sounds nice at some level and simple, and yet when you read through the New Testament, there is just such repeated explicit and implicit drawing on the Old Testament to make arguments about who God is and his moral character. So it's not this sort of clean and tidy, just sort of, oh yeah, you can just chop off everything that comes before Matthew and pretend like it really doesn't exist because it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And even if it's, like I said, the most generous benefit of the doubt I can give is he's thinking from an apologetic perspective. He's saying, you don't even need to worry about that, which that doesn't make sense to me. It's like, if someone's raising those objections and they're like genuine, they're not like a smokescreen for something else, just trying to dismiss them, I don't know what that does for you. Like that person's not going to be like, oh, I don't need to worry about that. Like, well, I think it's an issue. You may not think it's an issue, but I think it's an issue.
Sure.
So I don't even think that on the apologetics level it gets you anywhere. So,
yeah. Anything else on Marcion?
Again, I'll just repeat. We as Christians need to take seriously and value the Old Testament.
Yeah.
Now it needs to be read. We need to read it as Christians. But the answer is not unhitching ourselves from the Old Testament. The answer is reading the Old Testament rightly.
I'll also say this about Marcion, the historical figure, so the guy from the 2nd century. He, we know a lot about him because people wrote against him. Mm-hmm. Most of his own work we've either was destroyed or lost.
But that's pretty common.
That is very common. Oh, very common. And that's not a defense of him.
Right.
I'm just saying, like, we know very little about the guy. We know kind of where he came from.
Yeah.
We know he was in Rome, and we know he was Gnostic-ish, and we know his
Gnostic adjacent.
Yes. We know his big thrust was get rid of the Old Testament.
Yes.
And chunks of the New Testament as well.
Correct.
Really liked Paul.
Yep.
Did not like the prison epistles.
No.
And we don't know why. The only reason we know that is because I think it's Irenaeus who goes, yeah, he really likes Paul, except for the prison epistles.
Yeah.
And that's really the only reason we know that.
Yeah. Now, I will just add something in terms of it is true that much of what we know about a lot of these heretics comes from people responding to them.
Yep.
But I would say in at least a number of places, many of these responses are they will include essentially quotes saying, such and such heretic says this or this group says this. So that's a little different often than what we find in the New Testament, where the apostles, like in the letters, like Paul is just responding to false teaching without always explaining this is what the false teachers are saying.
Right.
And so you kind of have to piece together through some mirror reading. Mm-hmm. So if Paul's responding this way, then what were the false teachers actually promoting?
And we have sometimes 2 or 3 people, like we can have Irenaeus, we can have Tertullian. We can have 2 or 3 guys responding to them.
Yep.
Sometimes at different eras.
Right.
But responding to the same arguments and same things.
Yeah. All right, time now for This Day in Sports History.
All right, This Day in Sports History, October the 21st.
Yeah.
2025. Coming down to the last quarter here.
Yes.
Coming down to the last quarter here. The fourth quarter of the year, so to speak.
Yeah. It's crunch time. Gotta execute in the fourth quarter.
Absolutely. 1964 on this day. Oh, boy, you started me out hard here. Abibi Bikla of Ethiopia runs a world record. I believe that's 2 hours, 12 minutes, 11 seconds to beat Briton Basil Heatley by more than 4 minutes to win the men's marathon at the Tokyo Olympics. First athlete to win an Olympic marathon twice.
Yeah. Yeah.
We have my least favorite word to start this next one. 1964, Polish 4x100 women's relay team runs a world record, 43.6 to beat the U.S. By 0.3 seconds to win the gold medal at the Tokyo Olympics. Teresa Sepley?
Maybe. Probably not, but
Irina Kurzenstein,
maybe?
Kurzenstein, Halina Goreka, and Iwa Klabukowska. 1973, Fred Dreyer of the Los Angeles Rams becomes the first player in NFL history to score 2 safeties in the same game. I assume as a defensive lineman, not the quarterback that got 2 safeties scored.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. 1980 Baseball World Series. The Phillies beat the Kansas City Royals 4-1 at Veterans Stadium, secure a 4-2 first championship in franchise history. MVP Phillies third baseman Mike Schmidt. Schmitty.
Yeah. Ohio University alum right there.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I did not know that.
Yep.
I assume you play baseball.
Yes.
Okay. Anything else? Sometimes, was he a 2-sport guy?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. 2007, Finnish Ferrari driver Kimi Räikkönen wins season-ending Brazilian F1 Grand Prix to claim his first. Oh, that's a he. Win his first World Drivers' Championship by 1 point from Lewis Hamilton.
Probably Kimi. Did you say?
I said Kimi.
Did you? Okay.
I might have said Kimi.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Kimi.
Yeah. Okay.
None of them. I don't like any of them.
I mean, I'm guessing you're between Fred Dreyer and Mike Schmidt.
Well, I don't like the Philadelphia Phillies, so it's Fred Dreyer for me.
Okay. Fred Dreyer it is. One thing you liked.
All right. I'm going to talk about an app I started using this week on my desktop called Whisper, WSPR. Basically, I download it on my computer and I press 2 buttons and I can dictate into any text box.
Okay.
Super helpful for email, where I can just verbally process my email out loud in my office and get through it a whole lot quicker.
Okay. And then do you have to I assume you probably end up cleaning it up to some degree.
So what I do is the email app I use has built in OpenAI, has built in ChatGPT.
Okay.
And so I just record it into the AI and I just hit enter and I let the AI clean it up, make sure it sounds right when it's printed and send it on its way.
Okay.
It's been great. Whisper.
And is that
Certain number of words a day are free.
okay. Gotcha.
So like 2,000 words a day, something like that.
Okay. That could go pretty quick though.
Yeah, it can. But it's great for short emails.
Uh-huh.
Great for that stuff.
Okay. Whisper it is.
Whisper.
I'm going to go with my time in Montana.
Yeah.
We recorded from their last episode last week.
You recorded from their last episode.
That's true. That's true.
I was
you
not,
you were
I
not
was
there.
not there.
No. But yeah, beautiful place. There was 8 inches of snow on the ground when I arrived, and great students. Fun to interact with them, and I discovered when I got out there that they were using my book, Asking the Right Questions, in all of their like small group community groups throughout campus there. So,
Nice.
So that was fun to find that out. So that is my one thing I liked. All right, John, we have talked about some college and NFL football. We talked a little basketball. Threw that in there as well.
Yeah, we dabbled.
We dabbled. Yeah. Yep. We talked about Marcion.
We also talked about a heist.
We talked about John's fascination with a modern-day heist, yes.
Yeah.
Do you like heist movies?
Generally, yeah.
Like The Italian Job or...
Italian Job was fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ocean's 11, really
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to start that again. All right, John. We have talked about some football. We've talked about some basketball. We have talked about a heist.
Mm-hmm.
We have talked about Marcion. We have talked about Fred Dreyer. We have talked about Whisper. And we talked about my time in Montana. And so I think, by definition, we have covered our various and sundry topics. And so all that's left to say is, until next time, the Lord bless y'all real good.
Later.